got soul. Just the way you like it. So good, so fresh. Just the way you like it. So good, so fresh. Get up on your feet, this is a shakedown.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Attack and Third on It's a Wrap Sports Network. I am Steve, Soldier Steve on X, 247 on X, and we have a first place Philadelphia Union squad, first club to 50 points in the season in MLS. The club gets their MLS franchise 200th win, and UA calls game as a super sub. And Union pick up the 3-1 comeback win against the Colorado Rapids. This one looked like it was going to be one of those games that just slipped right out of their hands. On paper, obviously, the Union should be dominating everybody for the most part from here on out on their schedule. I feel like maybe except for Cincinnati and Vancouver. Those are your two. I would say tests heading into the playoffs, and I wouldn't put NYCFC, I wouldn't put them in that category of bottom feeders. They're a team that's fighting for something. So this is. It seemed like it was one of those matches that they had so many opportunities, right? To get goals, and it just felt like nothing was falling for them. Or what did they have? Let me look at the stats here. 27 shot attempts, 11 shots on goal. And I feel like until UA came in, a lot of those, just weren't dropping. And Colorado got their goal. Navarro got the goal in the 37th minute. Just lackadaisical defense for the Union. Wagner out of place there, and nothing Blake really could do on the rebound. Let's get into some of these comments. Guy coming in, Joe, my man, what's going on? How are you tonight, brother? No Phillies tonight, right? So we got the Attack and Third, and we got Union. Ricky is watching. What's going on? Thank you for watching tonight, Ricky. Joe says, I think the Union should be called the comeback guys. Yeah, a lot of their matches, right? One that sticks out the most is the one against LA Galaxy. We're going to talk a lot about them tonight. UA, that was the match that UA had that little chip shot to little chipper in the box to Ty Baribo, who headed it in to complete the comeback win Wednesday night at home. And then, there's been several other comebacks, but, the latest now was against Colorado. So I agree with you, Joe. I agree with you there. But let's talk about this one. Union, I feel like they came out with positive energy from the All-Star break. It sucked not having Harriel. It sucked not having Frankie, and I think in that goal, on the goal that they gave up to Navarro in the first half, really it showed. It really showed there on that play. And like I said, it wasn't for a lack of opportunities. I think the ref was really lenient on this night. I think the Union probably could have, and they're the most yellow carded team, I believe, They have the most in MLS this season, and I feel like they got lucky. They got lucky. The ref kept it in that pocket sleeve for a while. I mean, they still got called for 14 fouls, only one yellow card. They dominated corner kicks again. But you got to give it to Colorado and to Stefan. He lived up to the hype. We had Michael on Thursday last week on the show, and he spoke highly about him. He said that he was going to have to step up, and we shouldn't sleep on him. And he was right. Up until the Ty Baribo goal, right? And let's talk about that goal. Let's talk about the Ty Baribo goal. It was much needed. Off a corner, it got what, the 3-piece, I believe. I think it for corner kicks. I think it came off of a corner. They did one of those passes that didn't come straight from the corner. Gave it a little pass out back to Kai. Kai found a streaking Baribo. Glesnes was right there too. So there was a few opportunities for a goal scorer there. But ultimately, Baribo gets the goal, his 15th goal of the season. He's able to continue his um, incredible season. Really, not just season, but incredible run since he has been given the um, full-time starter, since he's really been getting his minutes, since the departure of Carranza, Gazdak, Baribo's been the man, and he gets his 15th goal. We talked about it last week, being the MLS All-Star Game MVP. He really needed to come out, and he did. He gets I think it was off his left foot, off the cross from Kai, and they're off and running. You're feeling a little bit more comfortable. I was there. It gave a little bit juice back into Subaru Park, right? Because everyone was getting a little antsy with how things were going and the lack of goals with as many opportunities that they had. Joe's got a comment. I wonder if the Union head coach said something at halftime. And Joe, I'm willing to bet in a match like this, right? He's going up against, I believe, Pat was talking about it last week, his old college roommate. I think that's what it was. Colorado Rapids head coach. He had to have been a little pissed about it, about how they played. I thought that they didn't necessarily come out flat in the first half because it wasn't for a lack of effort and a lack of opportunities. I feel like they missed Harriel. They missed Frankie. The midfield wasn't playing up to par. We're going to talk about him later. Vasilev, I got a little rant about him, but he's starting to get frustrating. Quinn, I feel like with the lack of defensive presence in Quinn, in Frankie and Harriel, Quinn wanted to do a little bit too much with the ball at times, got a little bit too fancy. Danley wasn't really, he had that one opportunity that just missed. But other than that, I feel like this was one of those games that you can throw out for him. But yeah, 1-1 or 1-0 in heading into halftime. Carnell definitely said something. I know in previous games or matches, Pat was down there and he was in the press box for it, And he was saying that Carnell said, I didn't even have to say anything this time. The guys said it themselves. So um I feel like this was a match though where Carnell he went ahead and took matters into his own hands and said something. Joe, I noticed the defense did better late in the game. Yeah, they had the juice. I think once Ua came in and really gave them that offensive spark, that offensive firepower, that offensive energy that they needed. Um, he's really been awesome. He's been incredible, I think, since this Gazdag trade. He's been able to play more freely. He's been able to show off a little bit more of his creativity. Still not as much as many goals production, but he's definitely playing better. 4 goals and 4 assists on the season. He's missed time this year because of injury. So I feel like him coming on late as a super sub, I can definitely see him starting against Toronto because of Bruno's struggles right now. Just finding the back of the net as a striker, that's what you got to do. As a forward, that's your goal. That's what you were sent here for. And there's been too many times. Yes, he has found the back of the net a few times, but I mean, my guy should be at easily, I feel like anywhere between 7 to 9 goals right now. So, yeah, I think the defense, you're right, Joe. I think the defense got a spark from Uwa coming in. And I mean, what he got goal in the 89th minute, and then I think it was the 96th minute. So I just think that energy that he brought off the bench, it was everything. Who else? Bedoya coming off or coming on. The place erupted for Bedoya. It was perfect timing for him to enter the match for Quinn. And I think this is a much needed week off for them. Not a week off because, well, it kind of is. They're playing the team from Frankfurt at home, a friendly on Saturday. So a lot of these guys will be able to get a rest while a lot of the rest of the league is in Leagues Cup. And then you're back at home against Toronto, August 9th. Then you got back-to-back games against Red Bull. August 13th, you got the Leagues Cup, or not Leagues Cup, US Open Cup. I believe what? Is it quarterfinals? I think, yeah. Because the next round, yeah, quarterfinals for a chance to go to semifinals to play Nashville, team that's been your kryptonite this year. There's a lot of little things that can still transpire on this season. So these guys got to be here. Harriel's got to be smarter with these yellow cards. I think a lot of these guys got to be smarter with these yellow cards. Frankie's got to be. He's got to learn from that headbutt. Yeah, I defended him, but he's got to learn from that headbutt and hopefully understands he's needed. He is needed out there, and whether he's coming off the bench or he's starting, his presence is definitely needed. And Joe mentioned it that in that defense, but they were able to step up. They were able to step up. Um, I wanted to talk about. I want to talk about Uwa more, but I want to talk about two people who I feel like really need to, especially as we get closer to the playoffs, need to step up and excuse me and start playing better. And one of them, I mentioned it briefly, it's got to be Uwa. Um, Uwa, I mean not Uwa, Bruno. Bruno Damiani needs to start to now figure out how you're going to fit in because it sometimes feels like he's playing like he doesn't know how to fit in, right? Um, or like he doesn't fit in well, like he's trying too much, right? Some of his goals or some of his opportunities and shots have been incredible opportunities. I mean, if they drop, they are incredible goals. You've had some incredible saves throughout the season from his shots. The post has been a nemesis of his as well. Or he's just off, which you're encouraged by because he's not afraid to let it loose. He's not afraid to shoot. You can see where the creativity, you can see where the talent is coming from, but it's just not enough right now for what he was signed and for what he was brought here to do. So if you can get a little bit more goal production from him, and I almost feel like I'm being nitpicky now with the team because they, for Christ's sakes, they have a, what is it right now? Wait for this to load. 19 plus goal differential. I mean, holy hell. 3 up on the clubs that are next to them. Nashville has a plus 16. San Diego has a plus 16, and Vancouver has a plus 16 goal differential. I mean, so I think I counted it the other day. You have 10 clean sheets between Rick and Blake on the year, right? So yeah, is it maybe being nitpicky about Bruno not getting the numbers and having the production behind the opportunities? Maybe they'll start to fall here later on in the season, and he'll pick it up in the playoffs, and he'll be, incredible on the rest of the ride out. But all I know is that he's one of the guys who definitely needs to start picking it up. I can definitely see him coming off the bench this week or next Saturday against Toronto, and and it being a Baribo Ua up front, up top as your forwards. Uh, but Vasilev, I want to get into Indy because I've wanted to like him. I wanted to be a fan of his. I really do. I love his energy. I love his whole vibe. I love uh, really everything except for his gameplay sometimes. Um, he just looks like my mom used to say the saying all the time, like you look like a chicken running around with his head cut off. And that's what he looks like sometimes with the ball at his feet. He doesn't know where he's gonna go. He doesn't know what he wants to do with the ball at his feet. Um, it's and it's like he'll play hot potato with the ball and him and and Danley at times, or Lukic, right? And it's like, what, or Quinn, and then he's kicking it back to Glesner, and just never gets anywhere. And he had the assist, he had the one assist to on Ua's goal, but that play, Ua made that play happen. All right, Ua made that play happen. Let's be real. I feel like he just needs to simmer down, right? Simmer down now and just allow the game to come to him instead of overdoing it and in letting the game and trying to take over the game, or take over a moment, I should say. Um, he just looks so like, I'm going over here. I'm going over here. No, I'm not. Like he's trying to juke someone, but it's also like you kind of just look like you're confused out there. Um, those two things get fixed. Those two players get fixed, and I really do think you can go out and sign a. I don't know what they're going to do when it comes to signing players. Um, it, it bothers me a little bit because you're seeing all these other teams making moves constantly. Vancouver ended up signing Thomas Mueller for the rest of the season. He had interest in coming to Philadelphia. Tanner didn't want to pay the price tag. I also don't think he would have fit in. I think if your goal is to sell jerseys and to just sell seats and to sell merchandise and to bring in a Bayern Munich fan base for the rest of this season, sure, would have been a good signing. But I don't think that's what their goal is this year. I just don't think he would have contributed too much more than what anybody's doing coming off the bench. He's old. I know Bedoya's old, but Bedoya knows this culture, right? I think he's relied upon enough. Um, New England just signed Matt Turner in goal, so he's back with them. I'm trying to look at the Union schedule and look at the teams who just signed people and who the Union could be going up against. So um, Joe's chiming in. Blake looks shaky at times. Yeah, and uh, it's tough when you got two good. It's like having two good quarterbacks, right, in the NFL. Um, it's having that second goalkeeper. It's great. It's a great problem to have. Um, but in moments like this, you're always going to go with Blake. You gotta go with him until he's ready to call it quits. And yeah, I'm with you. He does look shaky at times. His offense, we talked about it, plus 19 score differential or goal differential. So he's definitely able to benefit from having high octane offense when it comes to scoring goals. They're also, I mentioned it, 10 clean sheets between Blake and Rick. So although he does look shaky at times, I still feel comfortable with him in net, um, leading this team, being the captain when Bedoya is not out there on the pitch. Uh, but I will say, Andrew Rick is definitely the future um, for the Union in goalkeeper for sure. So, Joe, what would you grade? Let's go. Definitely A plus. What would you give? What would you grade Blake on his performance? He did have a few saves. Let me go back to my notes. Some of the guys um, with their grades. I give Wagner, and I give him a B plus. He gave up a goal, or he was a reason why the goal was conceded in the first half, but he did have the assist, and you just love his hustle. You love what he brings to this squad. You love what he's the heart. I think he's the heartbeat. I feel like to to this team. So Bedoya, I think what he did coming off the bench, he really, really does a good job at calming everything down. This team's young. There's a lot of young guys. Even the new additions that they had come in. Danley's young. Lukic is young. Um, Frankie, young. So I feel like Bedoya and Glesnes has done a great job with Marcata. You want to talk about the growth from that kid? He's had more games, I feel like, where if we're grading right now, oh, he's a 3.5 GPA. He's getting nothing but A's and B's on the season. There was a match earlier on in the year where I was livid with him. Pretty sure it was the loss to Nashville at home way back in March, where it was like, what are you doing, kid? This guy's not you're supposed to be Elliott's replacement, but I am so happy at what he's been able to do and his growth, what Glesnes has done, being a mentor to him. He's a three-time All-Star, Fender of the Year, Defense Player of the Year for a reason, a few times. So Blake B plus, yeah, I'm with you there. Wagner B minus, and you're giving him the minus because of he was in on the goal, why the goal happened. So I'm with you there. I'm with you there. Baribo, I'll give him a B plus. I'll give him a B plus. I would have liked to see him get an equalizer in the first half and calm things down for him, but he ultimately got his goal. So I give him a B plus. I liked seeing Rafa come off the bench and getting minutes. Um, but let's talk about Toronto. I don't want to talk about B plus. All right. All right. I don't want to talk about the Saturday friendly. I hope a lot of the young guys, I hope Sal, Olivas gets minutes. I hope Rafa gets tons of minutes. I don't hope Bruno gets some run, get some confidence. Sometimes just like in other sports, like in basketball, you just got to see the ball go in the back of the net. I'm hoping that is the case for Bruno. Once he sees the ball go in the back of the net, big things will happen. Big things will happen because the rest of the game is there. I love the way he boxes out. I love the way he bullies. I love his drive. I love his energy. He doesn't get defeated. He doesn't show too much emotion other than, sometimes he'll go back and forth with the ref and everything, but, he doesn't show disdain. He doesn't show any discouragement. Um, he's never down on himself, always confident. So just got to get more production from him. Joe, the Union should win the next two games. Yeah, I would say the next three games, right? You got Toronto, then you got the two games against Red Bulls, the Red Bull. Um, you got the U.S. Open Cup game, and then you got them away. So what is it? I think 15 in a row they've beaten the Red Bulls. Go make it 17. Make it to the semifinals of the U.S. Open Cup. Now we're talking August 23rd for Chicago. Jack Elliott coming back to Subaru Park. I'm sure he'll get a nice standing ovation, but after that, I'm booing him. I'm booing him after that. Nah. No, I am, but but I you got three. We're just talking MLS now. You got Toronto, Red Bull, Chicago. Three matches, two at home, one on the road. At least 7 points from that stretch heading into Cincinnati. And then you got two bye games, August 30th, and then what is that? September 6th. Or no, there's a week off. I can't see it, the schedule. I got it right here. How about this? Right here. Schedule at the bottom ticker. 13th they have Vancouver. So you got a week off in between the bye or in between the away games. I really think this team can get the 70 points. Really think this team can get the 70 points. Yeah, they had a setback. The Union too. They do look good. They had a setback yesterday. I know they lost. But they were on a win streak. So the academy's great. The academy's great. That's where these guys are coming from. As much as I hate it that they're not going out and signing big players and they're just sticking to the youth, it's proven to work for them. So no, they do. They look good. They look good. But no, let's do what we like to do every week. Pat loves it. And Pat's not here. Pat's off this week. It's the summer. We got a lot of vacations. We got a lot of things going on. Where are we at here? Where are we at? All right. We're gonna go around the MLS. Talk about what's happening. And well, you know what? Shoot. We might save that for next week. Because I just realized they're off. They're off for Leagues Cup. Pretty sure people are off for Leagues Cup. Yeah. August 9th is the next time that we got games. So I know this is your one of your favorite segments, Joe, but I guess we're gonna take the week off from around the MLS because there is nothing going on really around the MLS. We do have Leagues Cup going on. Let me see if I can find and find that schedule. Because that was going on. What that started the other day. I feel like Tuesday. Here we go. Right now, what we got going on, Charlotte, and I'm gonna butcher some of these Spanish names. I'm sorry. Um Juarez. Juarez is up 4-1 on Charlotte. The MLS has not done good so far in Leagues Cup. They have not done that well in Leagues Cup. Let's see. Last night, Minnesota won and Portland won, and Miami. Atlanta lost 3-1. Orlando lost in penalties. And Portland and Salt Lake won, but it was Tuesday. Yeah, it was the opener. Holy hell. Montreal lost in penalties to Lyon. Columbus lost in penalties to Toluca. NYC FC lost 3-0 to Puebla. Houston lost 4-1 to Tigres. LAFC lost in penalties, wild penalties. Oh no, sorry, Montreal won on penalties. They were the only MLS team to win. LAFC lost to Mazatlan in penalties, and San Diego lost to Pachuca 3-2 on Tuesday. It was wild. I wish, Joe. The last two seasons, the Union were in Leagues Cup. And last season they failed to qualify for it this year because of the shit season they had. Right? Can't sugarcoat it. Can't sugarcoat it. Last season sucked. So, yeah, they weren't in it this year, which was disappointing. A lot of people didn't like it. A lot of people didn't like Leagues Cup because it was a cash grab, right? Money grab. But I personally loved Leagues Cup. I loved going up against what they played Atlas last season. They might have played them the year before. I know they played Querétaro. I know they played Pachuca a few times. Um, I love playing versus the um the Spanish leagues. Um, so hopefully next season they're in it. You don't get a lot of these teams in the U.S. Open Cup. It's a lot of the USL and MLS sort of deals, but in Champions Cup too. They were in that the last two seasons, and you would have seen them matched up with some of the teams there. But again, they didn't qualify for it this season. So based off their performance this year, I'm hoping they're back in those tournaments next season. But I think not being in all those tournaments this season has benefited them for rest purposes, like this week. You know, where a lot of these teams are playing. Like, shoot, this is this is good. This was a good question, Joe, because this brings up a good point. I mean, the Union are one of the few teams, MLS teams, not in action, meaningful action tonight or this week. Um, to where Montreal, Columbus, NYCFC, Houston, LAFC, San Diego, Atlanta, Miami, Orlando, Minnesota, Salt Lake, Portland, Charlotte, Red Bulls, Cincinnati, Colorado, Seattle, Galaxy, all those teams are in um are in Leagues Cup. So, you got Charlotte on the schedule still. You got NYC on the schedule still. You got Cincinnati on the schedule. You got Red Bulls twice on the schedule. So this is just an extra game where those players, that they were in the same boat. The Union were in the same boat last year where, damn, we're having to play a lot of games. I mean, hell, back in May, they played 9 games. They were unbeaten in May. So that could be a benefit to not playing in Leagues Cup this year. So I'm okay with it. Absolutely, absolutely. Because I don't think this friendly against Frankfurt on Saturday, you're not going to see the main guys play. You might see them play for a little bit, but it won't be long. I don't even see like a full a half if Baribo plays. But I feel like it's going to be a lot of the youth. You got Paxton Harrison coming back home, playing versus the Union. So that'll be fun for anyone who's going. I'm not going to this one. Um, I'm not going to this one this week. Taking the week off from the drive and everything. So yeah. So I think a lot of the starters, Joe. I think a lot of the main guys who are in the rotation, they're not going to have that many minutes in this Saturday's match. So they should be well rested for August 9th. I believe the next round for Leagues Cup and everything like that is in between August 30th and the September 13th. So they should be well rested for that unless they advance in the US Open Cup. But really, from here on out, I don't see any Wednesday games besides the US Open Cup match against Red Bulls. Everything else are their Saturday matches. So yeah, resting. They should be rested up, healing up these injuries. You got Glavinovich hopefully coming back from injury soon, sometime in August. I'm willing to bet maybe Chicago, he's back. Maybe Cincinnati, hopefully. He's back and able to use him. But I'll be interested to see what they do during this open window, during the transfer window, seeing if they go get somebody. So, but yeah, good win. I will say good win overall. It was awesome having Michael on over there in Colorado. He's doing a great job covering all his Colorado sports. It was awesome having him on and him on and chopping it up and talking about that and kind of going back and forth with him on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, um, during the game and in seeing his reaction to the slow start the Union had, and it looked like Colorado was going to be able to sneak at least maybe a draw, but Ua was the man, the super sub, and I think he needed that confidence. He needed to see that ball go in the back of the net like that for the brace. So many times he was Bruno, right? He was Bruno in the sense of not being able to finish these goals, right? And in such great opportunities. The thing about Ua, you could see the frustration. You could really see the frustration on his face after those opportunities, to where Bruno, you don't really see it as much. But Ua came in, saved the day. Saved the day in what for the most part I would say was a lackluster performance coming off an all-star break from the Union. But that's why he's the highest paid guy on the team right now. That's what he was brought here to do. And it's really good to see him coming into his own in the absence of, or in the departure, I should say, of Carranza, Gazdag, and the emergence that has had on Baribo, what it's had on Ua, and the rest of this Union squad to thrive in the way they are. So yeah, so good win. Got a nice rest week for a lot of the starters, right? And then they're on. What do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games. 9 games left in the season, in the regular season. So you're going up against a lot of squads that are, let me see. Where are we at? MLS? Let's take a look at the table real quick. You're going up against a lot of, Red Bulls sitting in 10th, trying to get into a playoff spot. Chicago sitting in 9th in that last playoff spot. Cincinnati, 2nd, right behind the Union. Vancouver sitting in 2nd in the West. New England sitting in 11th. They're fighting for a final playoff spot. DC's out of it, right? NYCFC sitting in 8th, really trying to hold on to that playoff spot. And then Charlotte sitting in 7th. So you are playing all squads right now, besides 2, who are all fighting for for playoff spot. Dangerous teams. Those are dangerous teams, right? Who are going to be giving it their all to at least steal at least 1 point from the Union, right? So how will they finish off this final stretch? I think they get to 70 points. Does that win you the Supporter Shield this season? I don't know. I think the Supporter Shield, I think you're going to have to get I think you're going to have to get like 70, 72, 73 points this year. Maybe even 74. But yeah, it'll be exciting. We got an exciting stretch, and we got exciting stuff going on here at It's a Wrap Sports Network. Of course, every Sunday through Thursday. You got the final word with Matty B. He'll be following me tonight, I believe, at 10. And this week on the wraparound, it'll be Big Mike Lauro filling in for Pat Bernard, the Gobbler. So it'll be Mike Friday at 10:30, wrapping up the week that was in Philadelphia sports and bringing you into the weekend for you late night folks. And then Sunday, of course, Sunday morning, Mike and Pat. I'm not sure if Pat will be there for this week, but I know Mike will. And Big Al. Big Al's usually there producing P&M in the AM every Sunday. What do they like to say? Your Sunday mornings will never be the same. And let's take a look. What do we got for this week in the Fightins final? We just had a switch up. Friday will be Mike covering for Big Al versus Detroit. Big series this week for the Phillies. Big series coming up. Just had some trades in right before the trade deadline today and yesterday. So hopefully they can get a bounce back series win because they were crap against the White Sox. So there's your lineup for that. And then, of course, I got to bring it up. Today's the Hall of Fame game. The NFL is back. We're talking preseason. I don't care. But here it is, the Eagles schedule. We got a post-game show for every game, for every Eagles game. So there's your schedule. We'll be doing a post-game show. Like I said, for every game. So we got tons of stuff you guys can tune into here at It's a Rap Sports Network. Joe, 73 points wins the Shield. I'm with you. I'm with you there. I am with you there. Joe, thank you, as always, for chiming in. You are the man. Me and Pat, we always talk about you and appreciate you always tuning in and being part of the show. And then everyone else who watched and didn't comment, thank you for watching. And make sure, like I said, you tune into the final word tonight with Matty B. I'm sure he'll got tons to talk about with the Phillies trade deadline stuff. So thank you for watching. Let's go Union. 50 points. First team there. Sitting back in first. A lot of promise. Dope.